State your full name, please.
James Blake Brickman, but I go by Blake.
How are you presently employed?
I work here in Austin at a venture capital firm.
I'm going to move pretty fast with you here, but I don't want you...
You need to move closer to the mic.
Yeah, you need to come through. I'm going to move pretty fast here with you, but I don't want you to speak fast. I'm just explaining to you, they'll come kind of hot and heavy, okay? Would you give me an idea of where you grew up, your college, and your jobs before you got to the AG's office?
I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I went to Vanderbilt University, and I went to the University of Kentucky College of Law.
And when you finished, and during the time that you were going to school, did you go to law school at night school?
Yes, sir. I was the chief of staff for United States Senator Jim Bunning in Washington, D.C., and I went to night law school during that time.
And then did you work for another politician before you came back to Texas?
Yes, I was Governor Matt Bevin from Kentucky's chief of staff from 2015 to 2019.
My memory is that Governor Bevin was considered a pretty conservative governor, was he not?
He was probably the most conservative governor in the country.
Is that the history of your public employment?
It is.
All right.
Senator Jim Bunning was also known as the most conservative senator at the time. Rand Paul took his seat when he retired.
All right. Now, when you came back to Dallas, what year did you come back, and how did you end up at the AG's office?
I came back in the end of 2019. I interviewed for a position as Deputy Attorney General with Jeff Mateer and Attorney General Ken Paxton in December of 2019 when they personally recruited me to come back to Texas.
And did General Paxton himself interview you and ask you to come back and come?
He did. I met with General Paxton in early 2019 in Austin. And then after Christmas in 2019, he offered me the job when we had lunch at Campese's in Dallas together.
I have Attorney General Exhibit 170.
Can I move this closer?
Sure. I think it should be either right after or right before that, Stacy. I didn't have the page number. Thank you. Would you read that, please, out loud?
This is a message from General Ken Paxton to me. And
dated what date?
January 11th, 2020.
Is this right before you started, or had you actually started?
This was 2 weeks before I started, so.
Go ahead.
I got a text from both Tommy and Doug Deason, both singing your praises. I think highly of both those guys, so you keep good company. I'm looking forward to your coming to work with us. You're going to fit in great and be a tremendous asset to our team.
And that is that, with that kind of endorsement, is that the way you began working for Attorney General Paxton?
It is. Tommy Hicks is who he's referring to, who at the time was the co-chairman of the RNC and a very close friend of Donald Trump Jr. Doug Deason is a conservative philanthropist in Dallas who is well known in the Republican Party.
All right. Now, when you began, what was your position?
I was in charge of policy and strategic initiatives, but because I had not waived into the Texas bar, my title initially was not Deputy Attorney General because I did not waive in until about June of 2020.
All right. When was the first time that you heard the name Nate Paul?
Sometime in either late March of 2020 or early April 2020.
And without going into what was said, did you have a conversation with the young man that was called the Body Man?
I had a conversation with Drew Wicker. Drew Wicker came to me.
And where was Drew Wicker's position in relation to you?
Drew Wicker reported directly to me.
All right. And was Mr. Wicker concerned?
He was very concerned.
And did he report to you his basis of his concern?
He did. And
what did you tell him?
Objection, hearsay.
That's fine. We'll just move right along. Did you give him some advice? Just yes or no?
Yes.
All right. And later, did he inform you that he had followed through on that advice?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
All right. Did you become aware ultimately of who it was that he was concerned about?
Attorney General Paxton was meeting privately with a man named Nate Paul without his security detail present and without the meetings being on his personal calendar, on his official calendar.
And was Drew concerned about him periodically getting rid of his security detail?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I object. We heard from Drew Wicker. This is hearsay. Sustained.
My only question was, did he relay his concerns about that matter without telling me what they were?
Yes.
All right. Now, I want to move now to September of 2020. Over a period of time, without going into detail, had you become familiar with and heard the Nate Paul in connection with other matters on several different or multiple occasions?
Yes, sir.
Objection, leading, and hearsay.
That's not leading. I've just asked whether he did. He could have said no, or he could have said yes.
Overruled.
Thank you. Now, by the time we hit September the 29th, what was your state of mind as to what your concerns were about Mr. Paul?
I was extremely concerned about Mr. Paxton's conduct. My office was about 5 feet away from Attorney General Ken Paxton's office. And what I saw over the course of those 3, 4, 5 months, the summer of 2020, I was very concerned that Mr. Paxton was breaking the law.
I want to go, if I may step away to get an exhibit, but first I want to ask you about your relationship up until the summer when you started having concerns with the Attorney General. Was there a particular occasion back in the spring in which the Attorney General sought to praise you?
Yes, sir. Attorney General Paxton and I had a very good relationship for the first few months I was in the office.
All right. Well, may I step over here, Your Honor? May I approach a bit, witness, Your Honor? Now, would you identify the exhibit I just showed you, which is obviously a book, and what exhibit number, just for identification purposes, is it?
It's Exhibit 705.
And what is the title of the book?
The book is called Scalia Speaks, about Antonin Scalia, Justice Scalia.
And where did you get that book?
Attorney General Ken Paxton gave this book to me in front of 40 or 50 of the most senior employees in the Office of Attorney General in May of 2020.
When did he give, in May, that's what I was going to ask you. Did he inscribe it?
He did.
Is the inscription in the first page?
It is.
What did he say?
Would you like me to read it?
Yes.
Blake, I am so grateful you joined our team at the Texas AG's office. You have been an amazing addition. I'm confident that you will continue to make a difference for our office and all of Texans. Blessings, Ken Paxton.
Thank you. How would you characterize whether that is an accurate description of the way he talks to and about you up through the month of May of 2020?
It was accurate.
All right. Was there a particular event that you'd been involved in on behalf of somebody that led him to be giving you that book and an award?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
This was early May of 2020. And if you remember, that was at the very beginning of the COVID pandemic. And there was a situation in the DFW Metroplex where I'm from, where there was a hairdresser named Shelley Luther who was put in Dallas County Jail because she violated a stay-at-home order so she could provide for her family.
How did that involve you?
I went to Attorney General Ken Paxton and said, sir, this is wrong that this is happening in this country.
And what was his reaction?
He said, well, what can we do about it?
And you said?
I said, you should speak out about this. This is wrong. Use your bully pulpit. And he did.
And as a result, what was his reaction to that?
He did several interviews. He was on Fox News talking about this. Tucker Carlson even praised him in early May of 2020. So he was very happy, and this was my idea.
And of course, there were other public officials that then also spoke up around that same time, correct?
There were many others after the fact, yes.
All right. And so as a result, what was the Attorney General of you having suggested that to him and it turning out well? How was his attitude toward you as you entered June of 2020?
It was great. That's why he gave me the book. He had never done this before, is what he told the entire staff. He had never made an award like this ever before.
All right, now let's go to September the 29th, September 30th of 2020. You said you had become concerned. You expressed some of those concerns. What was the focus and what was giving rise to it for you personally of September 29th and 30th of 2020?
I witnessed Attorney General Ken Paxton do brazen things on behalf of Nate Paul. He abused the entire office of the Attorney General of Texas to benefit Nate Paul. And it got worse and worse and worse as the year progressed.
Were you one of those who went to the FBI on September the 30th?
Yes, sir.
And are you also one of those that has been colloquially called a whistleblower?
Yes, sir.
Well, when you went to the FBI, did you go with other persons?
There were 7 of the most senior staffers at the Office of Attorney General. We went together.
Now, there seems to be some confusion in some parts of the world as to what evidence is. Did y'all take evidence with you?
We did.
And what did you take in the form of evidence to talk to the FBI?
Again, this was the 7 most senior people in the agency. We took firsthand personal knowledge of Ken Paxton's illegal, immoral, and unethical conduct to federal law enforcement officers.